Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm here with the Deputy Director of Culture, yes, Ms. Brenda Lesomtai, who's also co-chair of the Territory Day Committee, as well as Mrs. Ruth Fraser, who is a member of the Territory Day Committee. And you formed a Territory Day Committee to celebrate Territory Day.
Correct.
What's the origin of Territory Day?
Okay. Territory Day originated on July 1st, 1956. This was a day when the Virgin Islands was given colony status as they had moved away from the Leeward Islands Federation, which they were a part of since 1871. Several members, St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla, Montserrat, Antigua and Barbuda, moved away from that federation and joined the West Indies Federation. And our legislators, people like De Castro, Brundonell Bruce, Howard Payne, and Isaac Fonseca, didn't want to do that. They thought that we stood a better chance of standing on our own. Besides the fact that we didn't really trade with them, we traded with the U.S. Virgin Islands, and we also had the U.S. dollar's currency, which was not their currency as well. So they decided not to join this new West Indies Federation, and to their credit, it was the best thing they could have done for us as a territory. We became a colony and were given our own status in 1956, and that's when we became, that's when the 1st of July became Colony Day. In 1978, the word colony was no longer in favor of what we would call politically correct these days. And the United Nations put that out there, and Great Britain took it up. And on the 1st of July in 1978, the word was changed to Territory Day. So we started off as Colony Day, changed to Territory Day in 1978, and it was added to our schedule of holidays that year as well.
And that began the process of allowing us to increase our autonomy as time went on.
We definitely had much more autonomy, because remember, before we were part of a greater group, we were part of the Leeward Islands Federation, which included the other colonies of we were a presidency at that time, and our legislators had to go to Antigua to plead our case, because unfortunately in 1902, we lost our legislature at the time. So we no longer were able to rule internally ourselves. We had to travel to Antigua. And so in 1956, this was a tremendous step in the development of the territory, because no longer did we have to do that. But some things led up to that, because in 1949 we had the March of 1949, which we reenacted not that long ago, where De Castro and Faulkner and the other one there, Fonseca, they led that march, a peaceful demonstration. But the very next year we had an election. And after that election, the legislature was reinstated. So there were movements coming up to why we felt that it's time for us to get a handle on ruling ourselves. So when the opportunity came by in 1956, they petitioned that they did not want to become a part of another federation. They would much rather be a colony, and Great Britain granted their request.
Okay, and so I guess the Ministry of Education and Culture now feels that this is something that we should be celebrating to help to instill a sense of national pride.
Oh, most definitely. I think
because we haven't had a celebration of it before.
Well, there was one celebration. There was a celebration in 2006 for the 50th anniversary of Territory Day. That was held in the Sir Oliver George's Plaza. But it was not an annual event. It was a freestanding event that brought attention to Territory Day and what it meant. The Minister of Education and Culture, Mr. Myron V. Walwyn, is passionate about culture, and anyone who's watched his tenure thus far, he has put in place where we had the territorial dress and song competition. I spoke with you on that. And moving forwards towards signs and symbols that represent us, Virgin Islanders. Some of the signs and symbols were already official and some were not. The song and dance being the last two to be added. They include, and I can give you a quick list of those, the signs and symbols that we have already. The first one was the Virgin Islands badge, or the badge, and it was St. Ursula in the Lamps with the wreath. Well, when we became a colony, we received that from England. England gave that to us. This is the British Virgin Islands. That's our sign. That's our seal, the badge. Then
it was represented on what? St. Ursula
St. Ursula and the 11,000 virgins, since
Okay.
we're named the Virgin Islands.
Right.
And being mindful that that badge was a part of the Leeward Islands coat of arms. So they just took that part out and gave that to us and added the wreath, and that became our symbol. The territorial flag, the blue ensign, a lot of people don't even know what the flag means. It's the blue ensign, which was St. Patrick's Cross of Ireland, and it's defaced with our badge. We got that in 1960.
So the part that has the Union Jack, that is the St.
The St. Patrick, the blue ensign is the color of the blue. We have the
blue
cross,
background.
the blue background, and then the badge is
the St.
Yeah,
Ursula and
St. Ursula and her
11,000 the lamps that
and the
represent
lamps that represent the 11,000 virgins.
Yeah.
So that was given to us in 1960.
Okay.
We also have the territorial bird, which is the zenator or the turtle dove. And I want the public to get it clear. It's the zenator. It's not the mourning dove. It's not the ground dove. It's the turtle dove. And we still do have some, apparently.
And I'm not sure I'm able to recognize them.
They hide from us, smart birds that they are. They apparently
Because
found.
I see like a dark bluish gray kind of bird.
They're
It
very-
looks like a mountain dove.
Their hair,
Then-
but they tend to be up in the wetter areas, up in the guts and in the trees. You know, we've developed so much. You know, we've taken their spaces,
Yeah.
so they're looking after themselves. The territorial tree is the white cedar, and most recently, the motto, vigilate, be mindful, be watchful, be vigilant. The territorial song, O Beautiful Virgin Islands, and of course we have the territorial dress, which we will be presenting, unveiling on that day as well. The ones that we are going to unveil on the day are the territorial colors, the territorial music, the territorial food, and the territorial flower. The dress was already decided, but we're actually going to model. You're going to see the dress because we've had the fabric made. People will remember that the fabric that went into that was an original design, so you couldn't just go in the store and purchase it. So it had to be created, and we're very happy to let everyone know that it has been created. And on July 1st, we will present to the public the territorial dress.
And I'm anxious to see it, to see how I could use it to make various
you're gonna love it.
designs.
You're
So
gonna love it.
I'm definitely anxious to see. So now this territorial celebration, or is it a celebration?
It's a celebration. It's a ceremony.
It's a ceremony.
It's a ceremony.
And
It
it's
will
going to be held
at the Noah Lloyd Positive Action Movement Park, 9 a.m. We are very, very mindful that it is a holiday. People are used to going to other events. I've had persons call and say, but it's Fisherman's Day. I said, well, their Fisherman's Day is on Territory Day. Territory Day came first. But as you said, there weren't regular celebrations of the day, so other persons utilized the day for their activities.
But we're expecting now that this is going to be an annual event.
Yes, we would like it to be an annual event. Mind you, we're not certain that it will always take the same form of celebration. But from this point on, we expect that the day will be celebrated more openly. That day, we're going to have a ceremony. And at the ceremony, we're going to have just 2 speeches, very brief ceremony, just 2 speeches. But the whole point of that day is to present all the territorial signs and symbols, as well as the territorial gift.
Yes, the territorial
And the territorial gift. And we're also going to present the draft culture policy of the Virgin Islands for the public. We're going to have copies available. It's a draft. We want the public to look at it, read it, and give us their feedback before we move forward towards finalizing it. And that's very exciting because it will speak to all things cultural in the Virgin Islands and where we're going, where we are, where we hope to go, and how we hope to get there.
Did we already have a flower, a territorial flower?
Not officially.
No? Oh,
No.
but unofficially.
Unofficially,
We had
we had conflicting because some people said it was the
Hibiscus,
hibiscus, some people said it was the
oleander, some people said it was the
oleander. So
bougainvillea.
it was time to make it official.
Okay,
Yes.
so you ain't letting the cat out of the
I'm
bag
not letting
tonight.
the cat out of the
You
bag.
ain't giving Spotlight the scoop.
I'm not giving Spotlight the scoop.
right.
You have to come on
Now,
the day.
Mrs. Fraser, what is your role in the celebration?
Well, I'm liaising with the schools because we are always seeking for opportunities to make sure that our students are recognized, and we have quite a number of very talented students, and I'm liaising with the schools, secondary and primary, because all schools in the territory, secondary and primary, have been invited to send a representation to the event, because it's going to be an educational exercise as well. So we want them to be there, and they're going to take part. Students are going to take part from the very beginning, from before it starts. We're going to have some entertainment by students, and right through, the students have their part to play. In the ceremony.
Besides the entertainment, what other parts they're going to be playing? What other activities they're going to be doing?
Well, we have some students that will be giving us a perspective of Territory Day, looking back and looking forward.
Okay, so various schools will be giving
Various schools
their perspective.
Will be given
So it's going to have a historic
historic
component.
Yes,
outline
correct.
of Territory Day and its the history.
what can we expect from a historic perspective?
Well, you're going to find out how it came about, what all was involved in us getting Territory Day, why it's important, and it's the aim really is to make sure that the public understands why Territory Day and why is it important, and the general public is also invited because we want everybody to know about how we got this particular holiday.
The significance.
The significance of
it.
Territory Day.
Yes, it's amazing because everyone knows Territory Day is a holiday, and they all, as we know, we jump on the plane, we jump on the boat, and we go. But to have such a holiday that it's almost like Independence Day. It's like we were given our own colony. We were part of everything before, but now all of a sudden we were given something that belongs to us, in our care. And the development over the years moving forward, I have what I call some significant dates in our history.
Don't say them yet. What we gonna do?
Don't say them yet?
Yeah, we're gonna take a break.
Okay.
Gotta take a break for word from our sponsors.
Okay.
And we come back, we're gonna talk about those significant dates
Okay.
in our history and the advancement that we've made over time. Keep it locked right here, the Spotlight. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by Virgin Island Motors, Tortola Concrete Limited, Bolo's High Tech Printery, and H. Lavity Stout Community College.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I've been having a conversation with the Deputy Director of Culture, Mrs. Brenda Lesam-Tai, and the co-chair of the Territory Day Committee, also Mrs. Ruth Fraser. She's a member of the Territory Day Committee. And we've been talking about the origin of Territory Day, the significance of it, how it's going to be celebrated this year, and some important facts and dates revolving around Territory Day. So if you just joined us, that's where we are right now. You were talking during before the break about some significant dates. You also mentioned that we were going to have Territory Day on, of course, July the 1st.
Correct.
We also have an event. Territory Day has been unofficially celebrated on Beef Island with Fisherman's Day and a whole set of activities there. We have to satisfy the concerns of those who say,
Yes.
how does it fit together, and is there a conflict?
Well, I don't envision it being a conflict. Territory Day came first because that's how you got the holiday in the first place. It just was never celebrated to this extent on a what we hope to be an annual basis. We are very mindful of the other events that have taken place on Territory Day over the years, and that is the reason why we have decided to have the ceremony starting at 9 o'clock, and it shouldn't go any more than an hour and a half, hopefully, to allow persons to go on to the other events for the day.
Yeah.
So we're not taking up the whole day. We're just starting the day, making our impression and getting our message out and allowing persons to carry on the rest of the day as they so desire.
Okay, so you start off with your ceremony, and we could go to Beef Island
You
after
can go
the
to the
ceremony.
beach. If you have a boat, go to Salt Island. You can go to wherever else you want to
Okay.
go. We're just going to start it off with this is Territory Day.
Okay. Now you talk about some important dates that speaks to our advancement as a territory after receiving the colony status and the territory
It
status.
starts before.
Okay.
Some significant dates. In 1872, the Virgin Islands became a part of the Leeward Islands Federation. I think the act was signed in 1871, but it came into fruition in 1872. We were presidency of that federation, and that's when our legislator or representative went to Antigua to represent us. Well, in 1902, the Virgin Islands, our own legislative council was abolished, and that meant that we no longer had that self-rule inside here, and that carried on for quite some time. In 1949, the March of 1949, as I said before, that was with De Castro and Fonseca and Faulkner, the march that had 1,500 people.
You imagine?
1,500
that must have been half the population.
That was half the population right there.
Yeah.
That marched down Main Street to Commissioner Cruikshank, and they demanded to have more autonomy. And sure enough, the very next year, in 1950, elections were held, and the reinstatement of the Virgin Islands legislature took place. In 1956, the Virgin Islands was granted colony status on its own and was given the badge and the motto at that time. In 1960, the Virgin Islands flag was also granted by Great Britain. We got our own flag. In 1967, we got more internal self-government granted when we got our first chief minister. And that's when we were really on the road towards, looking after our own business and minding ourselves as a territory. And although it's some years a gap, in 2007, we had a new constitution granted. At that time, the chief minister changed to premier, the executive council changed to the cabinet, and the legislative council went back to being
The
a House of Assembly.
Yeah.
And we were granted as much autonomy as we can possibly get as a territory at that point.
So it's now time to start thinking about what the new relationship is going to be.
I think it's up for discussion. I personally don't think that the next step is necessarily being independent, because there are a lot of variations between here and there. However, I think there is the need for discussion.
And that's what I said. So we need to discuss what the next steps are going to be.
What the next steps would be.
Yeah. Well, I have to thank you for coming to Spotlight and sharing this valuable information with us. We need to say again before we go that Territory Day is going to be, the celebration of Territory Day is going to begin in the morning.
9 a.m., Noah Lloyd, Positive Action Movement Park. We're going to have featured young people of the territory. They're an essential, because it's all about them. The future's for them. It's all about them learning about our history, our culture, our heritage, and national pride. We will be presenting all the territorial signs and symbols on that day. We'll be presenting the territorial gift, and we'll be presenting to the public for comment the culture policy of the Virgin Islands.
Ms. Brenda Lesomtai, Ms. Ruth Fraser, thank you very much for being my guest on Spotlight, and I'll see you on Territory Day morning.
I hope so. Thank you very much.
Yes. We're going to take a break for a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to have the Director of the Social Security Board, Mrs. Antoinette Skelton, along with the Deputy Director, Mrs. Jeanette Scatliff-Boynes, and we're going to be talking about the importance of self-employed persons contributing to Social Security, the benefits, the penalties, the compliance necessary to obey the law. Keep it locked ahead to Spotlight. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Clarence Thomas Limited, the BVI Tourist Board, and CCT Global Communications.